I grew up in a small town where hunting wasn't just a hobby, it was part of life. Everyone knew everyone, and during rifle season, half the town disappeared into the woods before sunrise. My uncle was the one who taught me everything I knew. By the time I was in my 20s, I was comfortable going out alone. This happened late in the season, just after the first snowfall. Not enough to cover everything, but enough to make tracks stand out clearly. I had permission to hunt on a stretch of private land about an hour from town. It was mostly dense woods with a few clearings and an old service road cutting through it. There was also an abandoned fire tower somewhere deep in the property, but I'd never actually gone looking for it. I got there early, before sunrise, and parked near a locked gate like I always did. The air was dead still, the kind of quiet that almost feels heavy. I remember thinking how perfect it was for spotting movement. At the time, I didn't realize how much that quiet would bother me later. I made my way to a tree stand I had set up weeks before. It was about a mile in, overlooking a narrow trail that deer like to use. The snow made it easy to see that nothing had passed through recently, at least not since the night before. I climbed up, settled in, and waited for daylight. About an hour after sunrise, I noticed something off. There were footprints on the trail below me. That wasn't unusual by itself, but these were fresh, crisp edges in the snow. They hadn't been there when I walked in earlier. What didn't sit right was the direction. They weren't heading deeper into the woods, they were coming toward me. I leaned forward, trying to follow them with my eyes. The tracks came straight down the trail, then stopped about 30 yards from my stand. Just stopped. No turn, no backtrack, nothing. I scanned the area expecting to see someone standing behind the tree or crouched low, but there was nothing, just trees and shadows. I told myself maybe I missed something, maybe the tracks doubled back in a way I couldn't see. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone anymore. Around mid-morning, I heard something behind me. A soft crunch, slow, deliberate. I turned carefully in my stand, trying not to make noise. About 40 yards back, I saw a figure between the trees. He was just standing there. No camo, no bright orange vest, just a dark jacket and jeans. His head was slightly tilted, like he was studying me. For a second, I thought maybe he needed help or didn't realize I was hunting there. I gave a small wave, trying to keep things normal. He didn't weave back. He just stood there, completely still. Then, slowly, he stepped behind the tree. I waited for him to come out the other side. He never did. I kept my eyes locked on that spot for a long time, expecting movement, but nothing happened. No footsteps, no branches snapping, just silence. That's when I decided I was done for the morning. I climbed down and made my way toward where I'd seen him. The snow made it easy to track movement, and I figured I'd at least see where he went. But when I got there, the ground was untouched. No footprints. None. Not even where I had just seen him standing. I stood there for a minute trying to process it when I noticed something else. There was a piece of fabric tied around the branch at eye level, faded orange like it had been torn from a hunting vest. I looked around and saw another one a few yards away, then another. They weren't random. They formed a loose line leading deeper into the woods. Against my better judgment, I followed them. The further I went, the quieter it got. Even my own footsteps sounded wrong, like they were being swallowed by the trees. After a few minutes, I started to see more than just fabric. There were small piles of bones, animal bones, picked clean. Each pile sat just off the path, almost like markers. That's when I realized where the trail was leading. Through the trees ahead, I could see the outline of the old fire tower. It looked worse than I expected, rusted, leaning slightly, with the ladder barely intact. At the base, there was a small structure made of scrap wood and tarps. Someone had been living there. I didn't get any closer. Instead, I turned around and started heading back the way I came. I kept my pace steady at first, trying not to panic. Then I heard it again. Footsteps. Behind me. This time, they were faster. I didn't turn around. I didn't want to confirm what I already felt. The footsteps matched mine for a few seconds, then stopped when I stopped. That was enough. I broke into a run. Branches scraped at my arms as I pushed through the woods, following the markers back toward the trail. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely hear anything else. But I didn't need to. I could feel him there, keeping pace. Not rushing, not attacking, just staying close. When I finally broke out near the edge of the property, I saw my truck through the trees. Relief hit me all at once. I ran the last stretch, grabbed the door handle, and yanked it open. Before I got in, I made the mistake of looking back. He was standing at the tree line, closer than I expected. That same slight tilt of his head, that same stillness. This time I could see his face more clearly. He was smiling. Not wide, not normal, just enough to show his teeth. He slowly raised his hand and pointed at me. Then, without breaking eye contact, he dragged his finger across his throat. I didn't wait. I got in the truck, locked the doors, and drove out faster than I ever have in my life. I told the landowner everything that happened. He swore nobody else had permission to be there. A few days later, he went out with a couple of other guys to check the property. They found the fire tower, they found the shelter, but whoever had been living there was gone. All that was left were bones, torn pieces of clothing, and strips of orange fabric tied to branches leading in every direction. I never went back, and I don't hunt alone anymore, because whatever that was out there, it didn't feel like I had stumbled onto him. It felt like he had been waiting for me.